All right, gang, here's where we're at. On the first day, last week, Thursday, I think, we learned how to name compounds, and most of them are right here in group 1. And all we did was we just named the compound. We went like lithium fluoride, or beryllium bromide, something like that. Then on Monday, I taught you about the elements from 24 to 29, 50, 80, and 82, and these have more than one charge, so we had to use some Roman numerals. Like we would say cobalt 2 sulfide, or manganese 3 dioxide, or manganese 3 oxide, something like that. So the first element determined what system we used. We named it, or we used Roman numerals. Now what we're going to learn today is how to name compounds that have 2 nonmetals, and that will be all over here on the right. So this system is, we're going to use what's called prefixes. So as we're doing this, the key is really, where is the first element found? If the first element's here, we named it. If it's here, we use Roman numerals. And if the first element is here, we use prefixes. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is our next system of naming, and I call it molecular compounds. And those are ones that have 2 nonmetals. Everything we've been doing up to this point has been a metal and nonmetal. So to do this, what we're going to do is we are going to use prefixes. And you already know most of those prefixes, but if you don't, the prefixes are on page 175 of your textbook. If you want to pause and find those, you can do that, but here they are on page 175, and I know it's small on the screen here, but on page 175, you can see the prefixes are listed for 1 through 8, and then 9 and 10 might need to be added. 9 is nona, and 10 is deca. So you're probably familiar with tri is 3. For 4, you're probably used to quad, but we don't use quad in chemistry, we use tetra. You've heard of the pentagon where the generals work, that's 5. Hexagon has 6 sides. An octopus has 8 tentacles. So I bet you know most of them, but you may not be familiar with nona. Deca, you might know because there's 10 years in a decade. So let's apply these prefixes to name compounds that are all nonmetals. So first one, let's take a look at N2O. So if we find nitrogen, nitrogen is over here a nonmetal, so we must use prefixes. So here's how you would name this one. You would say dinitrogen monoxide. The di tells you 2 nitrogens. Mono tells you 1 oxygen. So notice I dropped one of the O's. I didn't say monooxide. It sounds like I have a stuttering problem, or monoxide. So we kind of make it sound good. So make it monoxide, not monoxide. So here's another one, NO. Again, nitrogen's a nonmetal, so we have to use prefixes. Now here's a rule for you. Notice we use mono on the second one. We never use mono on the first one. So you would say nitrogen monoxide. So you can see our rule with mono, we use mono on the second one, but never use it on the first element if there's only one of those. I don't know why. I don't make the rules. We're just following them. So how about N2O3? Well, what's your prefix for 2? It's not bi. If you look on page 175, we use di. So it'll be dinitrogen. And then your prefix for 3 is tri. You would say trioxide. Okay. Most kids find this pretty easy, and it's because you don't have to know any charges. You just do what the prefixes tell you. So let's go the other way. Let me give you a name. Nitrogen dioxide. So You just follow what the prefixes say. Nitrogen, there's just one listed, so it's just N. And then dioxide, di means two, so it's O2. That's all you do. One more. This is about as complicated as it gets. Dinitrogen pentoxide. Notice what I did with pent. I dropped the A off of penta, so it doesn't sound like pentaoxide. It sounds kind of goofy. So that's what people tend to do, is they'll drop that A. So go ahead and see if you can write the formula for dinitrogen pentoxide. Okay, so dinitrogen, we've got N2, that's 2 nitrogens. Pentoxide is 5 oxygens, so it's O5. And that's really, kids, that's about as hard as it gets. But what's the hard part is knowing when to use prefixes. We only use prefixes if the first element is a non-metal. Never ever use prefixes over here or here. What do I mean by that? Well, if I gave you MgCl2, what you have to do is look where that first element is, magnesium. Magnesium is number 12 right here, so we just name it. We do not use prefixes. So you would say magnesium chloride, not magnesium dichloride. Prefixes are only used when the first element is over here. So as you do this next set of homework problems, I want you to look specifically where the first element is, because that tells you what system to use. Name it, Roman numerals, and prefixes. You can't swap. You can't use prefixes here and Romans here, or just name it here. These are very specific. So here's your homework that I want you to work on for a little bit. In your problem-solving book on page 39, I would like you to do number 14 and 15. And on page 41, I would like you to do 1, 3, 4, and 5. Spend some time on that, and then near the end of the hour, I have another video. We're going to show you how to name acids, which we're going to use quite a bit of in the chem lab. So there's your homework. Write that down, work together, and constantly check your answers in the back. And when you're writing names, look where the first element is. Name it, Roman numerals, and prefixes. Has to be that way. All right, go ahead and get some homework done.